What is going on, guys? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So for a quick second, I'd like to just kick back, sit down, and talk about a topic that we really haven't covered that much on this channel at all. You've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail, so you're all fully aware that we're going to be talking a little bit about Pokemon Go. Which is funny given the fact that I haven't given Pokemon Go a genuine thought in ages, let alone actually played it. Lately, every time I try to open that app, I just see like a husk of what it used to be for me. And I feel bad because it's a game I used to enjoy so much, but personally, I can't find that same enjoyment anymore. If we're being completely honest here, I keep it around for the memories. And also because I have a lot of shinies that I still haven't put into Pokemon Home yet for some reason. On the occasional blue moon, there might be some cool event or something like that that pops up. Maybe I'll participate. More than likely, though, I won't. In reality, it just takes up space on my phone, but thankfully my phone has some decent spacing on it, so I'm not really worried about it. Now, before anything gets twisted here, I'd love to clarify the fact that this is not me saying that Pokemon Go is a bad game by any means. To this very day, I still have a ton of friends that are still incredibly invested, and they play on a regular basis, completing challenges, doing raids, and just utilizing it to get outside a little bit. Despite what's allegedly happening with Niantic right now, overall, people are still pretty much enjoying Pokemon Go for what it is. Despite what anybody may think, Pokemon Go is still somehow doing crazy numbers, and I don't see that game going anywhere anytime soon. Please believe me when I say I respect the grind. They found something that works, and they tried to make it work for as long as possible, to the point where it's still somehow managing itself. And you know what? I'm all for it. However, if I'm being completely honest, I can't help but resent this game just a little bit. For the last couple of years now, I've seen people talk online about how 2016 was the best summer of all time. Well, at the very least it allegedly was for like millennials and Gen Z or whatever, but that's a different topic. But I keep hearing about how that was such a peaceful time and how everybody wishes we could go back to the summer of 2016. And I've been constantly thinking, what in the world were they talking about? It was always so weird that people were consistently saying that. Frankly, a lot of things before 2019 for me were frankly a blur. So going all the way back to 2016 is kind of a struggle for me because that was still when I was back in high school. But after a lot of thinking and a little bit of research, it finally clicked that that was the one summer of peace because everybody and their mamas were playing Pokemon Go at the same time. And when I say everyone, I'm mostly not exaggerating. 232 million active players for the entire year of 2016 is not a number to scoff at. I can think of no stronger saying to sum up the existence of Pokemon Go other than a universal anomaly. Everybody across the globe was playing at the same time. People were traveling across the globe to get specific Pokemon from specific regions. And because of that, that was the one year where everybody simultaneously just decided to be humans and enjoy something together. People were actually going back outside to hang out with their friends again, something that was rare for me ever since I got my hands on a PS3. People were going on absurdly long walks just to catch as much Pokemon as they could during that day and hatch as many eggs as possible, despite the weather. No matter how hot it was, how cold it was, how rainy it was, everybody was doing it. And this is all despite the fact that Niantic developed the Teams mechanic, by the way. Team Valor, Team Instinct, and Team Mystic, all opposing teams, were still all playing Pokemon together. Which was a crazy time, by the way, because the way people were talking, it sounded like they were getting ready to start gang wars and stuff like that. But despite all that, it's not how it happened at all. People just fought over gyms, and that was pretty much it. Even though everybody was on different teams, we all played together. We were so together. And I can't think of another point in my lifetime where the world was so connected like that. Which is frankly the complete opposite of now. And for a good while there, Niantic was not slacking in any way, shape, or form. They were keeping it alive through a lot of updates and events damn near weekly. I remember constantly bussing it down to my local universities. I told myself that if I laughed at that sentence, I would have to keep it in. And I'm debating it now, because it's too funny, but I will try to say it again. I remember constantly busing it down to my local university just to traverse the campus and play with groups of people on a weekly basis. I made a lot of friends, memories, and caught a hell of a lot of Pokemon during those times, and I regret not a single second of any of it. So with all of that being said, please believe me when I say that Pokemon Go is an absolute treasure of a game. And even if it's not popping off as crazy as it once was, thanks to a multitude of reasons, I do appreciate what this game did for the world. That all being said, I still feel like Pokemon Go's growth did not just one, but two of some of the most damaging things possible for the future of the franchise. Over the years now, we have talked extensively about Pokemon Company and their antics when it comes to the big money moves. Until Pokemon Go, it was very clear to me that they weren't exactly sure how to capitalize on the mobile market. Before 2016, they had very mild involvement, but not a lot. They allegedly had a Pokemon Shuffle game at some point in 2015. I've never been invested in Pokemon Shuffle myself, and neither was literally anybody I ever talked to. They had Pokemon Picross in there somewhere, which I'm sure was cute. Before Pokemon Go, the only mobile game that I actively remember playing for a decent amount of time was Pokemon Duel. And obviously that one didn't go very far because that's one of the few that actually got discontinued entirely. And I'm talking like it actually got the Flappy Bird treatment. You cannot find that game. It's done, gonzo, eradicated. I literally completely forgot about that game's existence until I started scripting for this video. Absolutely insane. But the interesting thing about that game is that it came out only about 2 months before Pokemon Go did. And by that time, the game was already dead and done, so they really had no reason to give it any attention considering that Pokemon Go was already becoming a worldwide phenomenon. But then once you look at all of the stuff that came out after Pokemon Go's release, you could just physically see the gears shift in Pokemon Company's head on what they needed to do when it came to the mobile market. Now all of a sudden we're getting games like Magikarp Jump, Pokemon Quest, Pokemon Masters EX, eventually Pokemon Cafe Mix. At least 2 of the games that I just mentioned are still holding on for dear life right now, even like 2 to 3 to 4 years later. And you can tell just by playing any of these games that they really knew what they finally had to do to manipulate the money making within this market. Microtransactions are definitely one of the worst things to happen in modern gaming, and it definitely infected Pokemon more so than ever within the mobile market. I am so sorry. I'm gonna try to stop saying the words mobile market as much as I possibly can, but unfortunately that's part of the focus of the video, so I apologize in advance if I can't stop it. But it's funny to me because I personally don't know anybody, not a single soul personally, that plays Pokemon Masters or Pokemon Cafe Remix, and yet these games are still showing up in like Pokemon Presents and stuff like that. And they're doing well. I don't know how or why that's possible, but they're doing it. And it's impressive, but kind of infuriating. And I'll get to that right after I explain the second reason as to why I kind of resent Pokemon Go. That reason being the fact that Pokemon Go was the step for them to really put their focus into long-term games. And I say long-term games because I'm sure that there is a phrase for these types of games, but I don't know what it is yet. But as an example, Pokemon Unite. At the time of this recording, that game is about to hit its 2nd year anniversary. Since that game has come out, it's been pretty much a money printer, and it's not hard to see why. Making a game for Pokemon that utilizes a battle pass of all things is possibly one of the most dangerous things I could think to do. Games like these are made with the specific intent of gaining earnings on a regular basis by having in-game purchases available for people who are willing to invest more time and money into said games. 9 times out of 10, games like these are usually free to play to try to get the player hooked on the gameplay aspect. And once the player is hooked, they're sitting there thinking, wow, that was fun, but how could I make my gameplay experience even better? And that's when they start throwing the alternative costumes at you, the battle pass stuff that's extremely exclusive and that you can only get by purchasing that specific battle pass that's only gonna last you a couple of months. It becomes a hyper exclusive thing. And who doesn't want to be in on the exclusive stuff? This thought process is not coming from nowhere, I promise you. Unfortunately, I do play a lot of Fortnite, so I know what I'm talking about. And it's because of how much Fortnite that I've played that I completely understand the process of what Pokemon is trying to do with a game like Pokemon Unite. I once vowed that when I started playing Fortnite that I would never spend a single penny on that game. And now here I am with over 50 different skins. It's disgusting, truly. This is a money-thriving move, and absolutely, Pokemon would never skip out on something like that. And frankly, I can't really blame them. So, what in the world have I been rambling about for the last like 5.5 minutes? I guess what I'm trying to say here is that I'm a little resentful towards Pokemon Go because that game opened the Pokemon Company's eyes to the benefits of long-term games. And in turn, I just feel like that's only damaged the investment and time that they're willing to put into their other games. Obviously, in this case, I am not talking about the mainline games. Everything from Gen 1 to 9, that's a whole different donkey in of itself. That's not what I'm talking about. In this case, I'm talking about other games in the Pokemon franchise that I used to love outside of the mainline games. Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, I'm just really upset that it hurt the possibility of real spin-off games anymore. I believe I talked briefly about this very topic in another video recently, but the long and short of it is, with this form of business, they have zero real need or incentive to produce actual spin-off games anymore. Why risk the possibility of making something like a Pokepark 3 that might sell maybe like a measly 3 million units when they could make that over the course of time with just extra content in Pokemon Unite? Pokken Tournament 2? Who needs that? We've got Pokemon Cafe Remix and Pokemon Go still making waves. There's no reason for a Pokken tournament. Hell, give it another year or two and I'm sure they'll create another reason as to why we still haven't gotten a real Pokemon Rangers in over a decade. But Soul, you'd better slow your roll. They literally just gave us a remake of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon a couple of years ago, and on top of that, in the most recent Nintendo Direct, they announced Detective Pikachu 2 of all things! Yeah, no, frankly, I'm still shocked that both of those things happened and or is happening. However, that doesn't really help assist the case at all. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX was a good game, sure enough, but it was simply a remake, and on top of that, I feel like that was kind of their way of testing the waters to see if the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon fans would shell out that kind of money for more Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. The remake sold about 1.89 million units, which in of itself is not bad numbers by any means. However, unfortunately, this is the Pokemon Company we're talking about. Across the multitude of mobile games that they've created, they could make the money that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX made in almost no time flat. And then of course, there's Detective Pikachu 2. I don't see that doing crazy numbers. The first game didn't even sell 1 million units. I don't understand how that was the game that got adapted into a video game movie of all things. The only reason that I believe that this game got a sequel at all is because it started production just long enough ago. The movie did disgusting numbers in box office for a video game adaptation, so they figured, oh, alright, people gotta care about Detective Pikachu. Make that sequel. I never got around to playing the original game, to be honest with you. And now that the 3DS eShop is done, I literally have no choice but to either buy it from somebody else or hack it onto my 3DS, which isn't making any money for Pokemon Company, so I'm not really feeling all that obligated to go out of my way to pick up Detective Pikachu 2 because I can't even play the first one, and I'm sure that a lot of people are feeling the exact same way as me. So, you know, don't be too shocked if Detective Pikachu pretty much just dies off after the second one. We probably won't see him again, ever. But then again, who knows? Maybe that part is really just me being really petty because I haven't seen hide nor hair of a lot of my personal favorite spin-off games in the Pokemon franchise for well over a decade now. But just like any other business or frankly any other person, if they don't see any benefit to it, why would they continue doing it? And I can't help but feel that that's exactly what they're thinking when it comes to their actual spin-off games. I mean, come on. If Pokemon Company sees giving their developers a Game Freak time to actually create the mainline games, why in the world would they advise somebody to go out of their way to make spin-off games that aren't for anything other than the mobile market? Sorry again, that would make them a ton more money for a longer period of time. It kinda sucks to think that way, but hey, maybe that's just me. Whew! So, I did you guys a favor, and instead of rambling at the beginning of the video, I'm gonna ramble at the end a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm sorry for not uploading again. I still haven't found my rhythm, and I'm not into Pokemon right now at all. Like, no matter how much I try, I just can't do it. But I am forcing myself to do a couple of things this week, so hopefully you guys enjoy what I do put out this upcoming week. I'm not gonna say what, just because I'm tired of saying it and not doing it. So I'm just gonna do it and hope that you guys enjoy it, and you know, you'll see it when you see it. But back on topic for this video here, do you agree with anything that I said? Do you think that Pokemon Go has also done irreparable damage to Pokemon Company with their views on mobile games and spin-off games and stuff like that? Or am I completely in my head, I'm actually imagining things, and the spin-off games are going to be just fine, they're just taking their time to develop stuff like Park 3, Pokemon Rangers, and whatever else they've got cooking in the oven right now? Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always down there with you guys. But with that, yeah, I've got some work to, I got a little bit of work to do, so it's about time to skedaddle. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this. And with that, I'm Gonzo. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!